What's up everybody, I'm Clint Grover with Never Done Industries, and on today's vlog we're going to talk about the Never Done Super Duty. Alright, so a while back we decided we were going to do a vlog series on the different vehicles that I have, how they came into my life, maybe some stories associated with them. And today we're going to talk about the Never Done Super Duty. Now we've done a lot of different videos and photos and all kinds of different things on this truck. And if you follow any of our music, I say our as a loose term because really it's Jeff's. Jeff Thompson, he's the guy that edits all these videos and stuff. He's my business partner in Never Done, for those of you who do not know. Anyway, we have a few songs out. And the one that the Super Duty relates to, it's called Country Thug. You can get it on Amazon, iTunes, Xbox, everywhere. Anywhere you can download music, you can get it. It's called Country Thug by Jeff Thompson. It's currently playing in the background. Anyway, it was on the cover art of that. We've done a whole bunch of crazy things with that truck, and so today I figured I would tell you how it came into my life and tell you a couple of stories that are associated with it. So here we go. The Never Done Super Duty, we call all my vehicles the Never Done this, that, whatever, because we use all of them for Never Done stuff. Not all the vehicles we feature are mine, but a lot of them are. If we say the Never Done Bronco, the Never Done Alero, the Never Done Super Duty, the Never Done Rat Rod, blah 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 blah, it's mine, most likely at this time. So anyway, the Super Duty. It is a 2005 Ford F350 Super Duty. It is the Lariat package, and unlike the common Power Stroke version, mine is the V10 gasoline engine. And I know we're going to get guys that are like, man, the V10 sucks, you should have gone with the diesel. And we're going to get guys that say, man, the diesel sucks, good job getting the V10. Realistically, they're both good. They both have different pluses and minuses. They both have different reasons why you would buy them. I am extremely happy with my V10. It's not just a stock V10 though. You know, it's got a programmer on it. It has 100 shot of nitrous on it. By the way, we are also nitrous dealers. If you're looking for nitrous, then hit us up at neverdoneusa.com. Anyway, and then on top of that, it's also got a 6-inch lift on it. It's got the dual shocks on the front. It's got the dual stabilizers on it. It has 37-inch Toyo Open Country MTs on it. It has 18-inch Moto Metal wheels. The tires are 13 and a half inches wide, so they're 37, 13, 5, 18. And it's got a full exhaust on it. It's got a Flowmaster on it. And one of the things a lot of guys don't like about the V10s, that I actually think is kind of cool, is the way they sound. They sound kind of like a tuner car. In fact, listen here. It doesn't have the V8 rumble, and it's because of the way that they set up the timing on it, the time that the spark hits. Anyway, it's because of that. So like if you go to a Lamborghini or you go to a Dodge Viper or anything with a V10 or a V12, it sounds a lot different, you know. Instead of the blah 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 blah, you know, type of thing, it's a whoa whoa whoa, like what you get out of a tuner car, you know, a 4 or 6 cylinder car. A lot of guys don't like that. I kind of didn't like it at first. Now I think it's pretty cool. I like it a little bit different. I don't really care for the way that the diesels sound. They kind of sound like a, I don't know, to me, you can comment below if you don't like this, but they kind of sound like a bunch of marbles banging around in a coffee can to me. And so, you know, it's personal preference, but I don't really like the way the diesels sound, especially when you start hooking them all up with an exhaust and you know, all the cool guy stuff. So, it's the V10. I also went with the V10 because it was less expensive, and I really didn't see any need to spend, you know, $30,000 on the same truck. I only paid $19,000 for mine. It still looked cool. It still got a lot of power, and it still goes everywhere that yours can go. And I've got video proof. Anyway, so here's the story on the Super Duty. I used to have a Ford Expedition. It was like a 99 Ford Expedition, and I freaking love those things. They're so kick-ass. They got so much room. They're so comfortable. They get like 12 miles a gallon, but that's not that big of a deal. You know, they're big, roomy, comfy. You can cruise those babies forever, and they're so freaking awesome. They go anywhere. You know, it's all-time all-wheel drive. Mine had the 5.4 in it. It was a really cool vehicle, but it's not a truck. It's not a pickup, you know. And I'm the kind of guy who's going to go out and pick up an engine or a bunch of boards or something from the hardware store. Or, you know, I'm a guy that's going to need a vehicle for working with, you know. And I didn't have a pickup that was going to be a daily driver. I've got a 72 Ford, but it's kind of a project vehicle. So I wanted to get out of the SUV thing as my daily driver, and I wanted to get into a pickup as a daily driver because I had never had one. And so anyway, I started looking around at different pickups, and I'm a Ford guy. When it comes to trucks, I'm going to buy a Ford. You know, I'm not going to hate on the Chevys and the Dodges and stuff because realistically they all have, you know, their own benefits. You know, they have some good things going for them, but I'm a Ford guy, and I'm always going to be a Ford guy. So when it comes to trucks, I'm buying a Ford. So anyway, I started looking at the different Fords, and originally I was thinking about getting one of the F-150s, you know, the half tons, and I was thinking, man, you know, that'd be just fine. Just get a half ton. I don't do any heavy hauling. I don't haul, you know, a camper or a trailer or boat or anything like that right now, and so a half ton would be just fine. And I started looking around at them, and they're cool. We actually have one of the new EcoBoosts now, in addition to the Super Duty, but back then, you know, I was looking at those and I was thinking, yeah, those are pretty sweet, but you know, I kind of wanted something that was badass. I've always kind of had the mentality of you only live once, and so when you're going to do something anyway, you might as well do the cool version of it. And so, you know, I was thinking, let's look for something that's got a lift, already got the performance stuff done. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret, okay? When you go, if you've got a bone stock vehicle here, and you've got a modified, badass custom vehicle here, if you go to trade those in, they're both worth the same. If not, the custom one being worth a little bit less because it only appeals to a certain market, right? Grandpa ain't going to want a jacked up, badass, twin turbo, nitrous huffing, you know, customized truck. And so, if you're in the market for a new vehicle, find one that some other guy already spent all the money on the upgrades, you know? I mean, when I bought that truck, it already had over $10,000 worth of shit done to it. I didn't have to do any of that stuff, and it cost me the same amount of money. Okay, so if you're into the custom stuff, please look at the stuff that's already been customized. It saves you a shitload of money. Anyway, so I've always been the kind of guy who's going to look for the custom one anyway. Even if it was more expensive, I want my stuff different than everybody else. I'm not just going to roll up something stock. So I get looking around and I'm looking at these F-150s and they look cool, but man, they're not badass. They're not tough. They're like when I sit next to the F250 or 350, you know, the 3/4 tons or the 1 tons. I mean, shit, man, they can't hang. And so I'm looking at all these big ones. I'm looking at all the diesels, and I'm liking the power. I'm liking the turbos of the diesels, you know. But I'm just thinking, man, that's more money than I want to spend. And so I got thinking about it, and I've got 2 little boys, and I knew they were going to want Dad to have something cool. And I thought about it, and I was running all the different things, you know, that, well, maybe I ought to be a little bit more responsible and look for fuel efficiency and all that crap. No, I'm not doing that. So I decided, you know what, it's going to be cool to me, it's going to be cool to them, it's going to be really strong, because I know I'm going to beat on the damn thing. Hell with it, I'm just going to start looking at the big ones. I'm not even looking at 3/4 tons or half tons. I'm looking at 1 tons. So I start looking online. I find a whole bunch of these, you know, different F350s for sale all over the place on, you know, on Craigslist and things like that. And I decided, okay, I think this is what I'm going to do. And so once again, because this is the way I do things, I go to one dealership, same thing as the stupid Amelero. I go to one dealership. I go to the Ford dealership in Pocatello, Idaho, which, by the way, I do not recommend. My experience there was terrible. But I go there, and they've got my truck sitting right there. They've got it on a little ramp thing. It looks so kick-ass next to all these others. Big, jacked up, cool looking thing. And I tell them, all right, I'm interested in checking this thing out. And they swing it around over there so I can go drive it. And I open up the door, and normally, I mean, I'm 6'3", right? And so when I walk up to a vehicle, normally I'm looking over the top of the damn thing. Hell no, not this one. I open up the door, and the freaking seat hits me almost at my chin, and I'm like, whoa, this is so badass. It's just so cool, you know? I mean, I'm like, I have to climb up so far into this vehicle. It was way different than anything I'd ever had. And so I'm looking around, and the girl that I was dating at the time, she looks over at me and she says, well, what do you think? And I said, yeah, right, like, I'm not going to buy this. And like, oh, it was just so cool, you know, like it was speaking to me. Just like all my other ones, you know, that's how they came about, is, geez, they just hit my soul, you know. And so I climb up in this thing, and I'm looking around, and the world's a different view from inside of a lifted truck. If you haven't ridden in one, then please do. In fact, maybe I'll do a video of me driving it around so you can kind of see. But you know, I was used to lowered cars and lower vehicles. You know, that Alero that I've got's low, and the rat rod's really low, and that's what I've kind of come accustomed to. You know, that's the Expedition that I had, it was stock height, but this, it's relatively low compared to that Super Duty. And so I climb up in it, and I'm looking around, I'm thinking, holy crap, everybody's so little, you know, they look like little ants. And so we take it on out, and I'm driving it, and holy shit, that freaking thing's hard to drive because everything's different, you know. You're looking, instead of just looking out straight, you're looking down at people. And when you roll up on them, it's a huge truck, and you're sitting at a different angle, and the whole world's a different place. And you feel like you're going to crash into everything, and you can't tell where your corners are, and everything's just way different. And I was thinking, shit, am I even going to be able to safely drive this thing? You know I do a lot of crazy shit for the videos, but during my daily driving life, like if I'm going back and forth to work, or definitely if I have my kids, I'm really, really safe in my driving practices. And so I'm thinking, man, is this a bad idea, you know? And I finally kind of get the hang of it, and I'm cruising around, and let me tell you what, that thing was, I mean, it was really shiny, so that helped, but that thing was snapping necks. I mean, everybody I go by, man, everybody's just looking at that thing. That's so cool, that's so cool. I'm getting all these thumbs up and stuff, and I'm thinking, man, this thing is so freaking awesome, you know, like I feel like I'm the king of the road in this thing. And so you know, I bring it back around, and we actually had that same day, we had an after party thing. It was like a launch party for our new calendars that we were getting ready to release. And so I had all the models invited out, and we were out at Bill Schultz's shop out there at Thunder Racing Engines. Thank you, Bill, by the way, for letting us use your shop for so many different things. And everybody was scheduled to arrive out there in an hour from the time I got back to the dealership. And I wasn't planning on buying, I was just looking. And so I pull back up to the dealership, and the guy says, you know, he can tell I'm excited. I mean, I'm sure I got little twinkly stars and shit in my eyes. But he said, well, what do you think about that thing? And I say, well, I'll tell you what, you get that thing done, sold, finished, signed, out the door in less than 20 minutes from right now, and I'll buy it. Done, he says. So he takes off hauling ass. You know, it's a scramble. I mean, I will give these guys credit for that. They scrambled their asses off. And there was 3 of these guys just running around like crazy. Because if you've ever bought a vehicle from a dealership, you know that shit takes a long time. And I don't know what the hell they're doing. You know, there can't be that much paperwork involved. But these dudes jumped on him. I got to get a drink. Hold on one second here. Sorry, I'm breaking up the story a bit. Anyway, so much better. So these guys are scrambling, and I'm thinking, well, whatever. You know, I brought the Expedition with me, and I figure, well, I don't have a parking spot for this truck, and so I'm going to have to trade the Expedition in on it. And the Expedition was a little bit rough, you know, but whatever. So I tell them, I say, all right, well, if you get this done, you know, I'm trading my Expedition in too. What are you going to give me for it? And this is actually one of the real gems of the used automotive market, is those late 90s, early 2000s Expeditions, because they came back and they told me, they said, well, we'll give you $1,000 trade in for it. And I thought, $1,000, shit, I'd rather just keep the thing. But realistically, I didn't have anywhere to put it. I literally had no parking space for it. The spot that the Super Duty was going to have to go in if they got this deal done was where the Expedition was at. So I said, okay, whatever, we'll go ahead and take $1,000 out of it, because I knew that in the used market, on Craigslist and on some of the different used Facebook sites and things like that, you can pick these things up for $1,500 to $2,500 all day long, and very seriously, they are really, really, really good. As long as they're in good mechanical condition, man, they're so good. I will absolutely have another one when I've got more parking space available. So anyway, sure enough, these guys, they get the stuff done, and they rush me in there, and I'm watching my clock too. You know, I got my phone out, and I'm like, literally, guys, I'm serious. I'm rolling out of here in 20 minutes. If you're not done, you're not done. You're keeping the truck. So they roll me in there to sign the papers, and we've got 5 minutes left, and the dude's like, sign here, sign here, sign here, sign here, sign here, and I'm freaking, you know, I'm banging that shit out, and sure enough, right on the 20-minute mark, bang, we're done, and that truck's mine. So I grab my crap out of the Expedition, throw it in the Super Duty, and off we go. And I'm driving down the road, and I'm going this way a little bit, this way a little bit, because when you get great big tires on a vehicle, it totally changes the way that they handle their handling characteristics. And they start to wander and stuff a little bit, and it's way different. You know, it doesn't feel tight. It doesn't feel at all like a lot of my other cars do. And so anyway, we get down to the shoot, or to the after party, sorry, or the launch party. And we get down there, and everybody was surprised, you know, that I brought a different vehicle than what they knew I had. And so that was kind of a cool deal there. But that's how I went about getting that. That was the whole deal on that. And then we knew that was going to be a good vehicle for videos. And so when we were looking at different videos we could do, when we were getting some of our first equipment, you know, we got a GoPro was my first camera. Jeff had a bunch of other cameras, and we were using his on some other stuff, like on our burnout video and stuff like that. But anyway, we got a GoPro for me down here. So that I could just stick it on the side of something and go tearing off and you know, get some cool footage. So anyway, when we were looking at different videos we could shoot with that thing, one of the things that we thought would be kind of cool was when we were doing our nitrous video, we put a video out asking you guys to vote on what you thought would be a cooler vehicle to put nitrous on, either the Never Done Alero or the Super Duty. And I thought everybody was going to pick the Alero. I was actually excited about that, and I was thinking, hell yeah, the Alero's going to have some spray on it. But it ended up not working out that way, and everybody wanted to see a big jacked up truck with nitrous, which I totally understand. And so we ended up putting the nitrous on the Super Duty, and this is one that I haven't talked about before because it's kind of embarrassing. But anyway, so we were doing the Nitrous 101 video. You can check that out in our other videos. Anyway, we're doing the Nitrous 101 video, and we got the nitrous all installed the night before the video shoot. Again, Thunder Racing Engines helped us out with that. They did all the install. They had to build custom brackets. It was a pain in the butt.
So, what's up?
But they got that all done, and we had to go out and test that night, right? And it's late at night. I mean, you know, because we had to put it on the Super Duty, and then we also had to put it on Bill's, I think it was a 99 Camaro Z28, so that we had two different vehicles with spray on it for the video. So anyway, we've got the spray on the Super Duty, and the kit that we put on was the Ford EFI 35 to 150 shot, the all Ford EFI one. It's on our website. And anyway, we put it on there, and Bill wanted to be conservative, you know, to go out and test it and everything. And so he put a 50 shot on the truck, which is 50 horsepower additional on top of what you already have. And me and Bill and Ashley McCammon, we all jump in the truck and we go cruising down the road, and we're like, all right, here we go, let's hit this shit. And the way that the nitrous is set up is it's set up to only activate at full throttle, right? So we go get the truck warmed up and everything, and we get rolling, and we do like a 10 or 15 mile an hour roll, and I bang on it, and it takes off, and it was pretty good. But you got to realize that truck's heavy as shit. Plus it's got a lift, plus it's got oversized tires. I mean, I've got a gear reduction in it, you know, it's got 456 gears in it, but it's a heavy truck, and it's kind of got everything working against it to go fast. And it was okay. That's all it was. The 50 shot, it was okay. It's too heavy of a truck to get it to really be awesome. And so you know, we go back to the shop, and Bill's like, all right, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to step that bitch up. Let's put a 100 shot in it. And he goes, are you sure? Hell yes, I'm sure. Let's freaking do this. And now keep in mind, this is my daily driver, okay? It's stupid as hell to do that to your daily driver. You know, it's not nitrous isn't dangerous, but you're pushing the internal components, the factory components, harder than they were designed to be pushed by 100 horsepower, right? It'd be like me putting a great big supercharger on it and cranking it up, or, you know, turbo setup and cranking it up, something like that. I mean, it requires, you know, more strength, and it's going to put more strain on your internals. Who cares? Cool, let's do it. So we go ahead and put the 100 horse jets in that bitch, and we roll out, and we we get going like again, probably 15 miles an hour, and I hit it, and instead of just being like, whoa, yeah, that's kind of cool, I feel it, it was like, bah! That thing took off, and I was like, yes, oh my god, that's so cool. And so we take a couple hits on it, and oh my god, it feels so much better. That truck finally had some power, you know. And I mean, the V10 already had power, but it was good. And so we turned around, and I had a hold my beer moment like an idiot. I bet you right now Bill Schultz and Ashley McCammon are laughing their asses off because they know what's coming next. So we get stopped, and now I'm, you know, oh yeah, this is so cool, this is my big badass truck. And I think it was Bill. He said, let's do a nitrous burnout. And I'm like, yeah, let's do a nitrous burnout. And I didn't know how to do a nitrous burnout. My assumption was that you just put your foot on the brake, slam on the gas, open up the spray, and you're doing a burnout. But because I'm a dumbass, instead of just leaving it in drive, I thought, let's maximize this thing. And so I had the front hubs unlocked. Mine's got manual hubs on it. I had the front hubs unlocked, and I dropped it down into 4 low, okay? And so now I've got a lower gear ratio going to the rear tires. So it's, for those of you that don't know what that's like, it's like putting a vehicle into first gear, you know, it's really low, like low geared, you know, it's really torquey, basically. It's really torquey. It's got a lot of low end on it. So I'm thinking, well, I want to blow the tires off. We'll go ahead and put it in 4 low. So I put it in 4 low, I drop it down into drive, and make sure that the spray's on. I put a purge kit on that truck too, so I could be driving along and I could hit the button and it did psh, psh, which is kick-ass. And so we're out there purging. I don't even remember what time it was. It's the middle of the damn night by this point. And we're out on this country road, and I'm all jacked up, ready to go. These guys are all jacked up, ready to go. And I hold my foot on the brake, and when you're doing a power brake, you know, normally you hold your foot on the brake, you go onto the throttle all the way, and then you slowly ease up off the brake so that you hold your vehicle in position. It doesn't take off and throw you into the ditch. So anyway, I slam on the gas, and the freaking on those pickups, the way that they're set up, they'll hop sometimes. Like if you get traction and then lose it, it wrinkles the tires, it wrinkles the rear suspension and stuff, and it makes it hop. It makes it very unstable. And so I hit it, and sure enough, the whole back end of that truck, boom, jumps way the hell up in the air. I don't know how high it was. It felt like we were like a foot off the ground. Realistically, I have no idea, but it jumped way high in the back. I should have let off, right? let off, let it come back down, laugh it off, no problem, try it again, take the damn thing out of 4 low. Nope. So what I did instead is I kept my foot on the throttle, right? And so now we have a vehicle. Here's the back end of the truck. The ass end is up in the air. We're on a full 100 shot of nitrous, and so we're putting, I don't know how much power it's putting down, I haven't dynoed it, but we're putting down 100 horsepower over what it normally put. The back tires are in the air, and they're spinning faster and faster and faster because the RPMs are going up. My foot's on the floor. Wah! I glance down at the speedometer as we're coming back down to earth, and I see it cross 60 miles an hour, okay? So I've got my rear tires spinning at 60 miles an hour, and then they come down and they make contact with that pavement, and they hook up. Well, I've got my foot on the brake, so the truck can't go anywhere. This happens in a matter of seconds. Boom! Clack, 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 clack. Holy shit, it sounds like a freaking nuke went off underneath my truck. I don't even know what the hell's going on. I'm letting off everything, and holy crap, and I go to try to put it into park, and it just, as it's trying to go in, I'm like, shit. I freaking blew the transmission, I blew the rear end, I don't know what the hell, I got hit by an IED, I don't know what's going on. And I look over at Bill, and he looks over at me, and he goes, there went your drive line. And I was like, shit. So we shut her down and we crawl up underneath there. Now, we have a 1-ton pickup here, okay? The drive line in this thing is like this big. It's humongous. It's a big bad bitch designed to be pulling heavy shit, right? I snapped that son of a bitch in half. I mean, bang, snapped it in half. And so now we're thinking, shit, we got to get back to the shop, right? Cops are probably on their way because we'd made a ruckus out there anyway, and we weren't being quiet. And so we're looking around. The only thing I've got in there to tie that drive shaft up is an old crappy extension cord. And so we get this old extension cord and we tie up the drive line there, and I lock in the front hubs because it's 4-wheel drive. Thank goodness for 4-wheel drive. I wasn't screwed because now my rear tires, they have no power. They cannot get power. The drive line that sends the power from the engine to the rear, it's gone. So we limp it back to the Thunder Racing engine shop, and I jump out and we get it all unbolted and everything, and we drop that drive line, and here's a picture of my dumb ass holding that freaking snapped drive line, thanks to Nitrous Express. It wasn't really their fault, it was my fault, but I thought it was funny. So anyway, then we went ahead and checked everything else out, and it seemed like everything was okay from there forward, and from there back, nothing was exploded that we could see, and that, and so we figured, well, looks like this video that we're filming in the morning is going to be done in front-wheel drive. And so now you know that the Nitrous 101 video, every shot that you see of that Super Duty is in front-wheel drive. We don't even have a rear drive line in it because it's snapped in half. And there's a scene in that one where I've got Becca, one of the Never Done girls, next to me, and I hit it and I'm like, ooh, that was loose the whole time. The reason that I was all sketchy about that is because it was the front tires that were loose the whole time. Now you go get in a big jacked up truck, front wheel drive, blow those bitches loose, good luck, it's a little bit messy. So that's why I was like, oh shit, I mean, if I get loose in the rear end on something, I could keep it rounded up pretty easy, but that one was a little bit sketchy, right? And so that was one of the kind of funny stories associated with that Super Duty. There's been a lot more that have been associated with that. There was another one where when we did the off-road one with it, one of the off-road ones with it, and I was spinning donuts out in the dirt, and I was throwing a great big dirt cloud out. When I got finished, when all the dirt settled, I was looking around. I had my window open so that I could, for the camera and stuff. And when all the dirt settled, I got looking around and there's just a coating of dust on everything. Well, when I was cleaning that thing out later on, I pulled out the bezel and all the different things, and there was actually the same amount of dust behind everything too. And so that was kind of a pain in the ass. And that shot where I go drop down through the river and you can see the big splash, you know, coming off the sides up on the front there. It was actually kind of funny on that one too, because after that I had tried to use my horn, and my horn, instead of being, you know, bah, bah, it was like bah, bah, and it sounded all shitty. And I waited a few days and it got a little bit better, but I was thinking, what the hell happened? Well, what happened is that the water got up in there. So it made my horn, it made it all like it was muffled, but it was almost a higher pitch. And so I'm driving around, you know, with the kind of horn that you'd expect to hear in a Geo Metro and my big jacked up truck. And eventually the way that I figured out that it was water is because eventually the water evaporated and it started working fine again, you know, finally. But alright, that's the Never Done Super Duty in a nutshell. That's where it came from, how it came into my life, and a couple of stories that are associated with it. Please take a look at our website, www.neverdoneusa.com. We've got all kinds of stuff on there. These hats are on there. We've got shirts and posters and all kinds of different things. So take a look at that. Please subscribe to our channel below. And thank you very much for watching, and please stay tuned for more.